Well, Senator, I would not advise believing everything you read in the media, and I'm consulted on every single decision. I'm the decision maker for the department, and we all serve at the pleasure of the President, and we have the prerogative to make those decisions. Did you personally approve Mr. Hawk's dismissal? Yes or no? Anyone coming or going at the Defense Department, especially at that level, would ultimately be a decision made by me. And I would personally relieve him. Did you personally relieve him? Yes, anyone at that level. Today, we're watching the tense exchange between Senator Jacky Rosen and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. And this one gets heated fast. Rosen goes straight into sharp yes or no questions about standards inside the Pentagon, anti-Semitism concerns, and the conduct of senior officials. Then the hearing pivots into something even bigger: the sudden removal of General Hawk, a respected leader in cyber and intelligence. This moment isn't just about politics. It reflects a deeper tension in America right now. People want accountability at the highest levels of government, especially inside the Department of Defense. And when answers start sounding vague, especially on issues as serious as hate speech, military leadership, and national security, the public takes notice. Let's get into the clip. Senator Rosen, you're recognized. I thought I would just create a stir down there. Clears throat, greater than I thank you to my seatmates on both sides. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and we take care of each other. And again, thank you, Chairman Wicker. Ranking Member Reed for holding this hearing. Mr. Secretary. We have a short amount of time, so I'm just going to ask a few simple questions. And I would just appreciate if you, for some of them, you would just answer yes or no. And so, Secretary Hegseth, would you agree that every senior official in the Department of Defense must reflect the values and conduct that our service members must uphold and our citizens expect? Senator, we want to uphold the highest possible standards. I'll take that for a yes. So would you also agree then that anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories have no place in our government or military, yes or no? They should not. Thank you. So would you also agree that anyone who has posted, and I'm going to quote, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories lifted right out of a neo-Nazi playbook, end quote, shouldn't be anywhere near a position of power? Yes or no? Since I don't believe the characterization of many officials in the news media, I would need to see precisely what's being characterized. But generally, would you not say that if you thought something was coming out of a neo-Nazi playbook, it doesn't have any place in our Department of Defense? Now, Secretary Hegseth, the quote that I just read you is referencing Miss Kingsley Wilson, the Dodd Press Secretary. It's a direct quote from her, who my Republican colleagues on this committee have also expressed alarm over due to her comments. In fact, one colleague said, and I'm going to quote again, "Obviously, I don't agree with her comments. I trust the Pentagon will address this." End quote. However, in the months since, not only have you not addressed these anti-Semitic comments, you have promoted Miss Wilson. This seems to be at odds, honestly, with President Trump's commitment, their public commitment to combat anti-Semitism, which he just said you two agreed with. So, Secretary Hegseth, given the rise in anti-Semitic violence, hate crimes in our nation, and to show that the Trump administration, your administration does have a zero-tolerance policy for anti-Semitism, will you dismiss Miss Kingsley from her role as a U.S. military spokesperson today? Yes or no? Again, that's why I referenced the context and characterization, but we'll send you the call. Greater than I've worked directly with her. She does a fantastic job, and there's any suggestion that I or her or others are party to anti-Semitism is a mischaracterization attempting to win political points, and I'm going to say you're attempting to win political points on the backs of mischaracterizing the statements of a member Trump administration not serious, and I'm not going to stand. You are not a serious person. You are not serious about rooting out fighting anti-Semitism within the ranks of our God. It's despicable. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm going to move on to General Hall, the sudden, inexplicable dismissal of General Hawk. He served as both director of the National Security Agency, commander of U.S. Cybercom, is deeply concerning. Raises significant questions about the decision-making process, its potential consequences. Public reports indicate that the removal of General Hawk, who has served his country proudly, has been influenced by social media influencer, a personality on social media. Laura Loomer spreads conspiracy theories. She's been denounced even by Republicans. And the ideas that any leaders within our agencies responsible for our nation's security, somebody would be dismissed based on the advice of a social media influencer, is alarming to say the least. It's surely not how we should be running our military. So were you consulted regarding General Hawk's dismissal? Yes or no? Well, clears throat. Senator, I would not advise believing everything you read in the media. And I'm consulted on every single decision. I'm the decision maker for the department, and we all serve at the pleasure of the President, and we have the prerogative to make those decisions. Did you approve Mr. Hawk's dismissal? Yes or no? Anyone coming or going at the Defense Department, especially at that level, would ultimately be a decision made by me, and I stand relieve him. Did you personally relieve him yesterday? Anyone at that level who relieved would be relieved by the Secretary of Defense? Was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal? Was this greater than was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal? You, ma'am, we all serve at the pleasure of the President, and the President deserves the type of commanders and advisors that he thinks will best equip greater than. Discussed General Missile with Laura Loomer prior to his removal. I don't discuss who I talk about anything with. But ultimately this is my decision, and he serves at the pleasure of the President, and that's why he's no longer there. So do you believe it's appropriate for any social media personality to influence personnel decisions in your department? Yes or no? I believe your time is up, Senator. Oh, it is not up to you to tell me when my time is up. Well, the time greater than, and I am going to say, Mr. Secretary, you're either feckless or complicit. You're not in control of your department. Yours is unserious. It is shocking. You're not combating anti-Semitism within your ranks. It's a dangerous and pivotal time in our nation's history. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back, and I don't appreciate the smirk, sir. You are the Secretary of Defense. The time of the gentle lady has expired. What stands out the moment this exchange begins is Rosen's precision. She isn't trying to build a big monologue. She wants direct answers from the Secretary of Defense on whether certain values are non-negotiable in America's military. These are questions that go beyond politics. They go straight to the expectations that Americans have for the people who hold immense power in defense and national security. When Rosen raises anti-Semitism, she's speaking to a long history of the U.S. military trying to maintain integrity and discipline inside the ranks. The expectation that military leaders must reflect the highest values is not new. Americans have held defense officials to that standard since World War II, and when you have rising hate crimes nationwide, members of the Senate questioning leadership about the conduct of top Pentagon officials is not unreasonable. This is part of how civilian oversight works. Hegseth's responses are where the tension grows. He keeps turning to context, which in Washington has often become a softer way of avoiding a firm stance. And for an American audience watching at home, that feels familiar. We've seen this pattern across many administrations. Hesitation to speak clearly, discomfort around personnel decisions, and broad statements about not believing everything in the media. Whether someone agrees with Rosen or Heg, what people notice is the lack of straightforward clarity. Then comes the second half, the removal of General Hawk. This is a serious position, someone leading both the NSA and U.S. Cyber Command. The idea that a major national security figure could be removed under unclear circumstances immediately raises historical echoes. Americans remember moments where political pressure influenced military leadership. From Truman firing MacArthur to the Pentagon shakeups during the Iraq War to rapid personnel reshuffling under multiple presidents, these events always trigger public concern. Rosen's reference to social media influence adds another layer. America has never operated a military based on trending posts or influencer commentary. Whether the accusation is accurate or not, even the suggestion touches a nerve among viewers who worry about stability and professionalism at the highest levels of government. When HEB peeps falling back on, "We serve at the pleasure of the president," it's technically correct, but it sidesteps something important. Americans expect a clean explanation for why top military leaders are dismissed. Not classified details, not internal politics, but at least a consistent reason. When that reason doesn't come, people start filling in the gaps themselves. By the end of this back and forth, you can feel the frustration on both sides. Rosen feels she's getting evasive answers. Hegseth feels he's being mischaracterized. And the audience watching this from home sees another example of how trust breaks down between government leaders and the people they're supposed to serve. This moment works as a snapshot of a much larger issue. Americans want a military that is strong, disciplined, unbiased, and led by people who can maintain public confidence. And when hearings like this expose cracks in communication, people understandably question what else might be going unrest behind the scenes. The biggest takeaway from this hearing is not Rosen's tone or Hegseth's defensiveness. It's how much Americans want clarity from the institutions that keep the country safe. When issues like anti-Semitism, leadership dismissals, and national security decisions get vague answers, people naturally get uneasy. Trust in government is already low, and moments like this only deepen the divide. So I want to know what you think. Did Hegseth give the kind of answers a Secretary of Defense should give? Or do you feel Rosen exposed real gaps in leadership accountability? Drop your thoughts below because conversations like this matter, especially when national security, leadership integrity, and public trust are on the